Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You guys thought I wouldn't be back in the mix even though it's the offseason? Are you kidding, man? It's your boy Terez Paylor, Chiefs beat writer for the Kansas City Star, and I'm on a solo mission representing for the rest of the A-team. My man Sam Mellinger, Blair Kirkhoff, Vahe Gregorian. All my guys are out on assignment, so this week you guys just get me. But I got a good show for you guys, man, even though it is just me. Last week or so I've been in Carolina watching the Carolina Panthers win the NFC title. And after that I went to Mobile, Alabama to check out the Senior Bowl, one of my favorite events every year. Get to watch talent, see some scouts, talk to them, really kind of get a good feel for this year's draft class. You guys know I love the whole drafting thing. That's what I'm all about. But, you know, the best thing about the Senior Bowl, man, is that a lot of people are there. Like, smart football men are there, right? And, you know, I was able to talk to a lot of guys, and I'm going to bring you some of these interviews today. First guy I'm sure you know of for sure is Riddick. He's an analyst on ESPN, one of the smartest football men out there in the media. Used to be a player personnel guy with some different organizations. So, I mean, this guy knows what he's talking about, and he's plugged into the Chiefs organization too. So I made sure I talked to him about just what he saw from this year's team and where they need to improve. And I also asked him about Eric Fisher and Dee Ford, because I wanted to know what he thought about those guys. Those are the cats you guys are always asking me about. So I let a real personnel guy, like a real guy who knows football talent, kind of give you his opinion on what's going on with those guys. So I think you're really going to like this interview. It's only about 5 minutes, and I apologize for the wind noise, but I think if you want to know more about the Chiefs, you got to listen to Lewis, because Lewis knows what he's talking about. In the second part of the podcast, I talked to Chuck Smith. Now, if you remember Chuck Smith, he was a really good defensive end in the NFL for a long time. Back, you know, in the early 2000s, late 90s, this guy was a good player. So he knows pass rush, and he's really passionate about it. And if you've read me before, you know I've like quoted him before just about the art of the pass rush. I mean, this is one of my guys. And right now he's training pass rushers. That's his thing. That's his trade. He's all about training young defensive ends and outside linebackers and interior attackers too, about the art of the pass rush, how to get home to the quarterback. He's got 5 prospects in this year's Senior Bowl. Some of them did pretty well too. And, you know, we talked for a good 15 minutes about Dee Ford, because Dee Ford is a guy that he used to train. I mean, that was one of his guys. And he's worked with Dee before too. So Dee's coming off a better sophomore year. He was certainly more productive this year because he played more. And he also made some strides, too, learning how to set the edge better against the run. But, you know, you'll see that the big thing with him, and I think Chuck's going to get into this better than I could ever, but, you know, just setting up his pass rush moves, he's got to have more than a speed rush. And that's got to be the offseason focus for him this year. But I think Chuck gives us some really good some thoughts on his development and where he's got to go to take the next step. So, you know, again, I know this is a little different podcast for you guys. You're used to the banter between the 4s, sometimes 5 of us. And I miss that too, man. I miss my guys in here. But look, man, I'm committed to getting this podcast going. I know we got to be here every week for you. I'm not going to abandon you. And I think if you really love the Chiefs, there's a market for it. You guys want to hear about them every week. I'm gonna try and have something for you every week, even if it's just interviews with interesting people. Sometimes maybe we'll have the A-team come in or a few members or so. Just, you know, there's stuff coming up, man. Hey, guys, in a month it'll be the NFL Combine. You know that's my thing. You guys really think I wouldn't have interviews for you from that? So stay tuned, man. We're going to have a lot of stuff for you this offseason. And in March we got free agency. You know, I'm going to have stuff for you. So if you're listening right now, I appreciate that. And we're gonna get cranking right now on this Riddick interview. Remember, I apologize for the wind noise. We were outside. It was a little cold, but if you stick with it, I think you'll learn a little bit about your team. So just stick with it, listen to it, and I'll give you my thoughts on some of the things Lewis said afterward, okay? All right, here we go. Hey, man, you watching the Chiefs this year. I just want to know, like, what do you think is the biggest reason they're able to turn around? What did you see from this team? People always want to know what you think about these guys.
Yeah, I think with Andy Reid in particular, he's a guy whose teams always seem to come on late in the year. He has tough training camps. I think players physically do a good job of recovering and kind of ascending into the latter part of the season. It's something that always happened in Philadelphia with us. And then he does a great job of taking care of guys physically at the end of the year, too, as far as changing up practices, really cutting down the hitting, giving them days off, especially when they win. And they won a bunch of games in a row, so you know they got a bunch of days off. I mean, he has good leadership in that locker room, without a doubt. I mean, Alex Smith is a good leader, Justin Houston. I mean, they have a good group of players. The schedule worked out to their favor. So it was a whole bunch of things. You can't really point to one thing, but a whole bunch of things that kind of work in their favor.
I'd love to know what you think about Marcus Peters as a
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Look, I had my concerns, like a lot of people did, but I was very vocal about the fact that I had my concerns about whether or not he'd be a good teammate. And from everything that I heard down there, he was A+, which is a great sign, not only for Marcus himself, but for the support system that they have down there as far as bringing him along and having guys like Emmett Thomas and those guys really mentor him and teach him just what it means to grow up in the National Football League and be a great person and a great teammate and be someone who can play a long, long time. And so I have nothing but respect for how the kid handled himself and how that organization put their arms around him and helped him grow up. And look, he turned in a tremendous year for him.
A few more things for you. I'd be curious to know what you think of Eric Fisher's development this year and also D Ford. Those are guys fans always zoom in on.
Sure.
You're the pro, so tell us what you think.
I think Eric Fisher is always going to be the guy who people are going to want more because of where he was drafted. Look, when you're first overall like that, the expectations are always going to be unreasonable. He'll never be able to match those because I don't ever think he was really a quote-unquote number one overall pick. Mm-hmm. But will he be good enough for them to win with? Well, he was good enough for them to make it to the divisional round. So obviously he's been fine. I think people need to kind of really just readjust their expectations. He's not going to be an all-pro Hall of Fame-worthy type of left tackle. As far as D Ford is concerned, he's interesting to me because he's a guy who I liked a lot coming out of Auburn. I think as long as you allow D to be who he is, which is really a speed pass rusher who can get off the edge and rush the passer and not try to put him into situations where he's just not going to excel, or rather hold the things against him that he doesn't do well and allow those to kind of make you not want to like him as much as you should, then you'll be fine. But if you start really beating him down about the things that he can't do that well, look, he's not a guy who you just sit on the line of scrimmage and make him set the edge and play the run. That's not his deal. Put him in there on third down, let him get up the field, let him rush the passer, highlight his strengths, and try to minimize his weaknesses. And I think the more coaches do that, the better off they are with players, and D is no exception.
Last thing here, Chiefs fans want to know, man, what do you think they need to add to, in your opinion, what are some of the areas you think they should fortify to get this thing to the next level next year, man?
I think it continues to be offensively. Jeremy's going to need some help. They have the makings of a nice group of perimeter weapons. I mean, Chris Conley will have to take another step. Kelsey will take another step. Jeremy needs to stay healthy, take another step. They need another. They need one more. They need to continue to have Alex Smith really try to open up the offense as much as possible. I don't think Alex is ever going to be what, again, a number one overall draft pick is going to be as far as when you're talking about a quarterback. But they need to just continue to open up that offense and be even more explosive. Defensively, they're going to be fine. They're going to be a strong football team. The secondary will be strong again. Justin will come back healthy. D has to take another step because Tomba's not going to be able to play forever. The defensive line up front should be solid, but really offensively, just become even more explosive, especially on the perimeter.
Great stuff. Thank you, Louis.
You got it, bro. Okay. All righty.
There it is. My man Louis Riddick coming through for me. Some interesting stuff he said right there, man. Start off for sure, his thoughts on Eric Fisher. Hey, Lou kind of put it out there like, hey, you think this guy's about to be Joe Thomas, you can you can forget about that, but he could be a starting left tackle for a Super Bowl team. I think it's basically what I took out of that. Even if you got to readjust your expectations. I know the Chiefs still like him. I mean, I was talking to John Dorsey this weekend, and he's going to defend his guy. He picked him number one overall, but John was pretty happy with the development Fish made as far as his toughness, his feet, his technique, and he's got confidence too, man. Like, that's the big thing. Like, here's this guy coming out of Central Michigan. He's got great feet, really. I mean, he does as an athlete for a left tackle. Like, it looks the right way, And here was this guy who just was going against grown men, just grown-ass men for the first time, And that's not to disparage the MAC. Like, I'm a Michigan guy. Like, I like that. I like MAC football, but, like, hey, man, there's a big jump from the MAC conference to friggin' James Harrison and Rob Quinn and all these great pass rushers. So I thought, hey, man, I get it. I get it. Like, maybe you do have to readjust Fisher's expectations, but it was really promising for Fish that he started playing with more of an attitude because he's more confident now. And that, the funny thing was, like, we didn't see a lot of that the first 2 years, but in his college tape, he was really, really, like, he was kind of he was a mean prick. Like, that's what you want from a left tackle, And we kind of didn't see as much of that the first 2 years. But, I actually, and this is just me I'm just I'm guessing here, but I think the Watt thing in week 1, like, really might have been a turning point for him. Like, you listen to radio shows and you heard people calling him Erica and just, like, all this kind of stuff. And, like, Fish is like a 6'7", 300-pound, like, dude. Like, that's a big dude. Like, and, like, he's a football player. So, like, these are, like, the most macho cats on earth. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could be, like, in a football locker room and it's just like, there's testosterone in the air. Like, these is, like, macho cats, right? Like, just most of you guys will never go in the NFL locker rooms, but just trust me, like, hey, man, like, you walk in there, like, it's man. It just manhood. Like, these cats these are alpha dudes. You get what I'm saying? And, like, you can't just, like, be in a locker room like that and not have that rub off on you. A, and B, like, not kind of be that way yourself. Like, and my point is, like, he has professional pride. So, like, when the Watt stuff came out and, him not playing through the ankle thing or whatever, I'm sure he felt like, all right, I got to prove it to people. And, you could just kind of tell that Houston game at the end of the year, the 30-0 win, meant something to him. Like, you heard us talk about this more on the podcast before, but, like, this dude, he gives Watt this shot that basically sends Watt out the game, and they just keep showing it over and over and over on this Jumbotron. And Houston fans are letting them have it. So not only do they show this thing, then they show him on the Jumbotron. They show Fisher trying to get the crowd riled up. And Fish, and this is great, like, we're always going to remember this, Fish starts nodding his head up and down and, like, saying, bring it to me, and I thought that was a turning point for Big Fish, man. I'll tell you what, like, if he's enjoying playing the game like that and, like, he can continue to play nasty, man, you can win with Big Fish. He's just got to work on his technique and really clean that up. His technique and pass pro. And that's an art, and that takes time, but it's also going to come down to how much Fish wants it. And it's going to be interesting to see what that dude is like in 2016, because he could be playing for some money now. You know what I mean? I mean, he's slated to be a free agent after 2016. And the Chiefs have a decision to make about him. They can give him a fifth-year option. That's their choice. It's a club option for a fifth year, which will put him under contract for 2017. But the thing is, it's going to be like $10 million, $11 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a heck of a windfall. And, I think they got a choice to make there because, yeah, you don't want to give up on the number 1 overall pick in 2013 and just, like, let him go to the market. But that's a lot of money. And it's a tricky situation because, like, if they give him the fifth-year option, they don't have to pay it unless he gets hurt. So, like, here's the deal, right? Say they give him the fifth-year option, and the deadline, I think, is by the start of the draft, so, like, late April, early May. Say they give him the fifth-year option for 2017. It'd be for $10 million plus. If he doesn't get hurt and he plays the season out and they decide, man, this guy's not good enough, they can cut him before free agency next year and not have to pay him anything. But if they give him the option and he goes out there and he gets hurt badly enough, it's guaranteed for injury. So then he's on the cap for $11 or $10 million. And that's a significant chunk of change, man. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of money. And that gives him leverage, too, to get an extension because the way things work in the NFL, if like even big money extensions have really low cap numbers at first year. Like Justin Houston, like he got $100 million contract. His first year cap hit was like $5 million. You get what I'm saying? So like, I mean, that gives him leverage. So, he's hoping for the extension, I'm sure. Either he gets an extension or the option, but like either or is a good option for him. So that's an interesting thing the Chiefs are going to have to do. They've shown some loyalty to the guys that they've picked, though. And I think, I'd be surprised if Fish wasn't a Chief in 2017. Like, they've spent all this time developing him. They like the player. He's grown up here. He's developing here. Like, you can't just give up on him, man. And, and I tell you what, if he gets an extension, it's going to be something significant because, maybe he's not as good as Lane Johnson right now, but Lane Johnson's setting, like, the tone of it all. Like Lane Johnson's the one that just signed this massive deal with the Eagles. So Chiefs are going to have some decisions to make, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they do with Fish. The other thing he mentioned that I thought was really interesting and worth talking about was D Ford. And we're going to talk a lot more about D Ford later in this podcast because, again, I'm talking to Chuck Smith, and you're going to hear that entire interview here with your boy. But, I was with Lou Riddick. Like, hey, I like D Ford as a player. That first, I saw him dominate the Senior Bowl, and, people mock that. But, like, this is the best of the best outside of the top 10 or 15 guys. And, like, pass rushers in today's football, they come at a premium. And no matter what you say about D Ford, he's got his flaws. No matter what you say about that dude, very few get off the ball like him, and that matters. Like, that means something. Like, you can teach the rest, but few people jump to snap like D4. Like, it's like Madden. Like, you press that button trying to anticipate the snap, and you get off the ball. Like, it's like that. And he doesn't even need to do that to generate pressure because his first step is so good and it's so elite. And I think Lou makes a good point. Like, people talk a lot about what D4 can do. You talk about the coverage, you talk about the run defense, even though he did get better at that this year, the anticipation, the instincts, But it's talk about what he can do, and he can. That speed rush is a lethal weapon. But I'm gonna write about this at some point this offseason. Like, look for this. But like, the key for him is developing that second pass rush move. Like, he's got to find or use some counters. Like, you got to make guys pay for oversetting on you if they know the speed rush is coming. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just, like, keep speed rushing cats and not expecting them to fix it, to adjust. So that's the thing for him, man. You know what? And I also agree with Lewis about the Chiefs team needs this offseason. Like, he wants to see him get another receiver. And I see that too. There's some guys out there I think that could probably be had for not a lot of money in free agency. I mean, you could draft a guy and develop him, but it's better to just have a receiver that's almost plug and play, which is why, I like Jermaine Kearse from Seattle. And I also like Marvin Jones from the Bengals. Shout out to Nick Jacobs, Time Warner Sports producer, who kind of, me and Nick talk sometimes, and I think, just because we both love football, and I like that. That was his suggestion, like sign Marvin Jones, and I like that too. Like, Marvin Jones is a good player. He's the Bengals receiver. He's pretty good, man. He's pretty good. So I think there's options there, and I think that they got to bring in like a veteran guy. I think that's kind of what they need to do. And I've also said, hey, they've got other positions they got to fortify as well, like interior tackle. That's some defensive tackle, maybe another offensive lineman, an offensive tackle, cornerback for sure. Even another tight end. They just signed Travis Kelce to an extension, but a veteran tight end will really allow Kelce to basically be a slot receiver. He could be devastating on that. You know what I mean? He could be devastating. Like, that would be, because Alex is gonna throw to him anyway. Like, even if he has an inline blocker, but giving him more tight ends is always a good thing. Even though I know they like some of those guys they've got there developing, like Harrison, Ross Travis, and James O'Shaughnessy and Brian Parker. So there's options there, man. I think obviously cornerback, I think tight end something, but receiver, Lewis hit the nail on the head. Like, receiver, it's time to finally completely upgrade that, because you'd be feeling pretty good with Albert Wilson as your 3 guy, or Conley as your 3 guy. You can be pretty deep there. So I think now is a pretty good time to actually delve into D Ford, though. I did a really good interview here with Chuck Smith, who was gracious to give me a good amount of time. And Chuck is a master of the pass rush. He knows all about it. And he trained D. So I was interested for his thoughts on what the Chiefs' 2014 first-round pick can do to improve as a football player. Chuck gave me a good 15 minutes. So dial on in, get ready. Here we go. This is good stuff. Check it out. This is Chuck Smith on D4, former Atlanta Falcons pass rusher, and he's a current D-line trainer. So here we go. Check it out.
Thanks for joining us, Chuck.
No problem.
And look, man, you know pass rush.
Yeah.
You're a trainer. You help draft prospects learn the art of pass rush.
Right.
You love pass rush. You've seen D Ford the last 2 years, haven't you? You've got a pretty good opportunity to look at it. What is your impression of what D's become, and what does he got to do to take that next step?
Well, I think one of the first things D has to do is he has to make a commitment to learning 2 signature pass rush moves. Because what happens when you're very fast, if you have no moves, you just get blocked faster. And I mean, that's just how it goes. So I just think D has to learn how to have, 2 moves that don't warrant speed. Because when you slow down, if you don't develop signature moves, almost like what I look at when you look back at what happened to Javon Curse. Speed only gets you so far, and I think one of the things that, D needs to cultivate is his speed and spin. I think he's also got to work on a couple other hand-to-hand placement moves, whether it's chops or swipes. But I just think also, you just got to keep developing, because I just think, you got the one big guy that you learn from in Justin Houston, who's basically a mauler. He's a speed rush, speed the bull guy. He can run over guys. Then you got the other guy who's just a really great technician that gave a lot of effort. I think D has to somewhere figure out his mentors, who he really is. Both of them have different intangibles, but what they do fits. They do it well. So I just think D has has an opportunity, but smart pass rushers use their pass rush moves.
When you look at D Ford, who should he, kind of in that same vein, who should he use as a basis for to model his game after? Like, you look at his body, his skill set, like, who should he try to be?
Well, D Ford to me should try to be, I'd say right now, Bruce Irvin. Bruce has never gotten to 10 to 15 sacks yet, but because he plays off the ball, they can match him up. He's got speed. I'd like to see D getting around those 7.5 to 10.5 sacks and pattern his game after Bruce Irvin. To me, that's, as a rusher and as a linebacker, that's who he is. And I just think that just like Bruce, continue to develop. But I think that's a comparison, because I always hear Von Miller. It's not a fair comparison. There's no one like Von Miller. Right. Not even the guys that are on his team. It's not a shot. They're special players. You understand what I'm saying? But they're different kind of special. Right. Where Justin can go for 20, Von can too. Justin's power and speed and some good shifty moves. I mean, Von is the Michael Jordan of pass rushers, man. And I think D Ford at this point has to establish himself as a pass rusher. He's lost that right. So you got to establish that by being productive. And I think it starts with training. I think it starts with moving further away from the draft. When people keep telling you're a pass rusher, but when the cheering stops after the draft, all that matters is production. So you've probably got, in the way the draft works, and this is not a D Ford issue, anybody who's in those first and second round, it's about 10 other dudes that ain't even been, that went 4th, 5th round, if you go look, that are making Pro Bowls, that are getting double digits. So you got to really, it's a humble thing for a guy to say, you know what, the projection is not the reality right now, and D Ford can be a phenomenal pass rusher. He's just got to develop that second and third move, because he's going to always have speed, but you got to develop things that come off the speed, and I think that'll help him.
Let's kind of talk about what he has to work with. Like,
oh yeah,
I don't think people understand sometimes just how special the first step is. We've talked about that before.
Oh yeah.
Well, tell me kind of the moldable play that's here for this guy. Like, what does he have to work with?
Well, it has a great first step. And one of the things that D needs to continue to work on, you don't have to jump the count to get sacks. If you watch Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware the other night, they never even flinched. So one of the things that you have to work on is you don't have to guess and take calculated risks to get sacks on your get-off, he has a phenomenal get-off. And D runs at least a 4.5, low 4.5s. And I just think it's one of those things. Also, what I believe needs to happen, just because you're in the 4-3, you don't always need to stand up as a 3-4 rusher. And that's a scheme thing. And that's something that his position and D-line coach his position and coordinator would have to really look at. Let me just ask you this. And I know it's always cool to have linebackers stand up, but if Usain Bolt could take off as fast as the guys that stand up, what would he do?
He'd stand up.
So I just think it's an NFL issue, a problem. Everybody knows D's coming, but he's quicker when he has his hand down in the dirt.
And I think it's important that you mention that.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed that too.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna jump in real quick and make a point here. Chuck's got a good point, man. Like Chuck's got a real good point. But to be fair to the Chiefs, there were times last year where D4 did put his hand in the dirt, and I honestly think he should do it more. Like the guy is better out of his stance and a 3-point stance when he can just explode off the snap out of a 3-point stance. That's what he did in college. Just do what the guy does well. Like there's no law that says a 3-4 defensive end has to be in a 2-point stance. Like there's no law. Do what the guy does well, and they've done more of that. But I'd like to see them continue to take advantage of his skills that way. All right, let's continue. I just wanted to make that point. Let's continue.
Why wouldn't you just take advantage of what he does best, which is put that hand in the dirt and get upfield? Like, why wouldn't teams do that? He's done, to be fair, though, he's done more of it this year.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't that be more of a full-time thing?
Well, I think it's also something that when you play outside linebacker, everybody has this preconceived notion that you have to stand up to be an outside linebacker. But let's be real. If I just bend down, put my hand down, I'm a defensive end, but my hips and my feet are in the same spot.
Right.
So you're really nothing but down.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, I got
You're
you.
really standing up. So regardless if I'm standing up right here, regardless if I'm right here, or if I'm right here, my first step is the same.
Right.
I'm going to jump in here again real quick because, what just happened right there is that Chuck got out of his seat and, started, showing me, how to do what he was talking about. And that's how I know that guy is passionate about pass rush. Like, people who love football, who coach football, they can't talk about football without, demonstrating physically what they talking about. They love to coach the game. And that's just a hint. If you ever want to see if someone really loves football and they're a coach, see how often when they're talking about it, they demonstrate what they're talking about as far as, technique or whatever. Because if you love it, you just can't help it. So, again, just another pop-in. We get back to it.
That makes sense.
So I just think, people get, not saying KC, but I think you get kind of cute a little bit, some guys. But I just think also D's got to put more time into training. And let me just say this. That's the best way to say this without killing everybody. It's a fact what I really believe. Listen, I'll tell you what affects guys too, like D. When you go to combine training, you spend 8 weeks with a guy and all they care about is speed. Mm-hmm. And you waste 8 weeks of training, you come into the league, and you never have time to get that time back.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So, again, nothing against it where he trained at with Pete Barbarino. They worry about speed all day. Right. It's all speed. So a lot of times what you're seeing now is trainers are affecting NFL players' futures. You become a first rounder now, but guess what? After the cheering stops, becoming the bust can happen really fast because think about this, man. So what I'm doing right now, and not saying that these guys will be great players, the reason why Reggie Ragland, Noah Spence, and all those guys, Daddy Nicholas and DJ Reader, dominated today, and the reason why D4 dominated, he had already had a foundation. He had pass rush on his mind. He was training all the time on it. So what happens is, man, when guys go to facilities, I had trained D in the summer. He had pass rush. I consulted him the whole year. So what happens is when guys end up going to training facilities, like a good example is another one, Vic Beasley. He went 8 weeks last year of speed,
right.
and you should have you should have 1/3 pie. I don't believe pass rush is more important than speed when it comes to combine, but I believe that during that time we have a unique time frame to develop guys because we can do more at the combine because we have so much free time during the day. So I think D's also a victim of the way the combine has always been done, but also not handicapping him, but also not letting his position coach off the hook.
Right.
So I don't know who his position coach is, and it might be a friend of mine. And this is the last thing I'll say. How do you develop as a pass rusher when you never get to learn how to truly rush because you're a product of a scheme? So there's so many things that D has to overcome, and the only person that can do it is him.
Do you think it would help him if he played more often? Like, do you think it would help him if he got regular playing time and he kind of?
Oh yeah, he'll improve with more playing time. I mean, everybody reps. The more reps you get, he'll get better. But in all fairness to D Ford, play your role, man. In every great player's career, they take an old guy's position.
They take it.
You take it. You don't ask. And Tom ain't trying to give it up. And hey, when I was in Atlanta, Patrick Kearney ran me out of town. Took my job. I ran Chris Dolman out of town. So it's like that. Every great player. If you ever look at Justin. I'm sure Justin moved someone out, and I bet you Tamba did too.
You saying the great ones don't have the job given to them?
They take it.
Interesting.
They take it, man, and that's because you're so driven. But that's how if you look at the history of really, I mean, you look at guys in these situations. That's kind of how it works. Like right now, who's another? Shane Ray.
Oh.
You're the same guy, but man, Shane Ray got in the game the other night, and he's already rolling. So, and him and D are a lot like in the same situation, but D, the time to perform, the sense of urgency is coming. But in all fairness, again, to D Ford, I mean, how do you get a comfort zone when you know Tom and those guys are there? So it's not like, but if he really wants it, take Tomba's position or Justin's position, and you get that $100 million. If that's the guy.
Gonna jump in one last time. That's strong stuff, man. But it's interesting, man. First of all, make something clear. He was talking about where D trains. I'm assuming it's Pete Bomarito. It's got a good reputation from what I hear. I'm pretty sure Pete does a good job. It's important to remember, like, hey, Chuck is a trainer too, so he's got his own opinions about how to do stuff. So it's important to be fair there. Like you gotta remember, like, there's insight here, and it's good stuff. But like, trainers have their different methods, and it's definitely, you just gotta remember that. Like trainers have their different methods. There's multiple ways to get from one spot to another. Let's pick it back up here, though.
Got to be your mentality, but it ain't gonna happen yet because he hasn't done enough to warrant saying, hey, but that's what he's got to do. He's either going to inherit the job or he's going to take the job.
And to be fair, though, the two guys in front of him, they can still ball. At 50 is one of the best to do it, man.
Right.
And, Tamba, you know this. He was one of your favorite pass rushers when we talked a year ago.
Tamba and Justin are two guys that I have a lot of respect for, but we're talking about D.
Yeah.
In every great player's career, if D came out and got 3-4 sacks in the game, him and Tamba splitting time. Let's be real now. So when he gets a chance, you can't lose contain. It affects when you get hurt. So there's so many little things that'll help D down the line. When it comes to pass rush, you got to seize the moment. So it's easy to sit here and say what coulda, shoulda, woulda. Mm-hmm. But when you get on the field, have you trained? Have you did all those things that it takes to be great? And I don't train D Ford, so I don't know what he's doing.
But to be fair though, this isn't like you shooting from the cuff on him. Like you've talked to him, you've worked with him. You just kind of get into like whatever. What background do you have with D? Like I
trained him in college, right, and I consulted him up until the combine.
All right. So you know what he's got to work with.
D Ford can be a great player, and I expect D to be a great player because I know he's passionate. He has all the intangibles, but again, everybody's a dog when they come out in the draft and they're the first rounder. It's not a D thing. It's just an example. Everybody says, I'm going for 10 this year. Everybody says that, but you got to do it. At some point, you don't get credit for being projected as a pass rusher when you ain't did it. You got to do it now.
Now, I guess my last question to you is that when you worked with him, did you get the sense that D Ford loves football? Did you get the sense that he loves
D Ford? I think D Ford loves football, and he loves football.
I think he does too.
Yeah, I think he loves football. I'm not questioning any of that, but I just think D's in a tough situation too. I mean, you just said you got two of the top pass rushers of our generation in front of you. You haven't done enough to separate yourself, But when you do get your shot, whenever one of them does, Justin's been slowed up a little bit. You'd like to see when Justin was getting more reps, and Justin and Tamba, that he would flash and make some plays. But I think the future is still bright for D, because I know he's healthy and he still can run. But you don't get credit for being a sack man when you ain't getting no sacks. So at some point, he's got to get sacks, or he's going to have to answer to the Chiefs, and they're going to have to answer to the boss. If he doesn't, and so it's. But his talent, I like to see him use a little more power, but again, I don't train D Ford. I don't know where he's training at. So if D Ford want to get back to get 10 sacks, you tell him to call me. He know where I'm at.
Now, Chuck, thank you so much for your time. Very insightful stuff. Tell us what you're up to, man. Like, what are you doing these days, man?
Right now, man, I'm in the middle of a special program that we're going to do every year. It's called Big Skill Training. I'm at D1 Orlando, training D linemen, outside and inside linebackers on all skill and pass rushing development for the Pro Day Combine. And also, we're, just preparing them for a life in the NFL. And it's the first of its kind, exclusively designed for the front seven.
Is this something that college kids should go to, or can high schoolers come in?
I train high school, college players year round. We're by appointment only, so you can go to chucksmithnfl.com if they need more information on me. But I train all levels of it. But on Twitter and social media, it's always people that resonate a little more with college and pros, and that always helps you get the high school kids.
Now, Chuck, I've known you for a while, man. No one loves the pass rush like Chuck Smith. So if anybody out there wants to learn how to do it, willing to invest in themselves, college guys, college pass rushers, you should holler at this man. Because this man loves football, loves the pass rush, and most importantly, loves to teach it. Now, you love to instruct pass rushers, man. And again, thank you so much for the time. And, we wish you the best going forward, man.
Man, I appreciate you always taking time to show love towards me, man, and the efforts you put into growing the awareness of pass rush, because there's not many, I can't name one other place that did that kind of in-detail articles that you've done over the last years on pass rush and moves. So I just commend you, because let's be real, Kansas City is a pass rush historical town, from two of my favorites, Neil and DT, all the way back to Justin and Tamba and hopefully D Ford.
Absolutely. You know what? The people out there, they're going to love hearing that, Chuck. They're going to love hearing that. Thanks again for your time, man. We wish you the best going forward, brother.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much.
All right, here it is, Chuck Smith. Come with some interesting thoughts on D Ford, man. I said multiple times, I like the kid. I like him as a person. I like him as a football player. I like the talent coming out. But, at the end of the day, Chuck's got a point. Like, when D Ford gets regular playing time, and he started getting some this year, but there's going to come a year when he's playing 15, 16 games. And he's going to have that sack number up there, Yeah, I'm pretty sure D's confident he can do it. I've talked to him before, and I know he's a confident guy, and he just wants the reps, and I get that too. I think he's going to be one of the more intriguing guys to follow in camp. When we get to July and it's time to put the pads on and start hitting, I really can't wait to see what D4 looks like. Because if he can combine this, like Chuck said, man, if he can combine that speed rush with like a reliable number 2 move or number 3 move, like an inside spin, which he should have in his arsenal, an inside club move once guys overset on him. Like, these are moves that are teachable. He just has to get a feel for them. And if D Ford ever puts that together, and they let him mix in some 3-point stance rushing, man, he's got a chance to be a good football player. And he did. And, all that is just to say, hey, he also made some strides this year, too. People want you to come in and immediately be like Von Miller. But people have different paths to becoming good players in this league. They just do. And there's not a lot of first-round picks with the caliber of player ahead of him. Tamba can still play. And Justin can. Obviously, Justin can, too. Justin's a great player. But, yeah, man, it's a big year number 3 for D. And they're going to be watching him for sure. And you guys are going to be watching him, too. He's one of the guys I get asked about the most. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this. There's a little different format than normal. Not as much laughter, not as much banter. Heavy technical, especially when it came to the pass rush. But I think it's good to mix it up sometimes. And I think some of you guys appreciate it. most of you guys, I don't know. I mean, we'll find out. I know a lot of you guys are just interested in like being entertained or whatever, but for some of you, this should have been pretty good. So give me some feedback. Holler at me on Twitter at Terez Paylor, or email me or whatever. Just let me know what you think. We're gonna close this thing on down now. I think I need you guys to go to iTunes, Sports Beat KC, rate and review us. Just help us. Just do it. Trust us. It helps us get our ranking out there. Also, remember to download our Red Zone app to stay on top of all your Chiefs news. It's the offseason, baby. There's a lot of news happening, and I'm here. I'm here for you. Just make sure you stay on top of it by getting that app. Finally, shout out to our producer, Chris Fickett, putting this together. Appreciate it, man. Shout out to Kevin McLeod for giving us this badass music. And shout out to all of you for buying the paper, clicking and reading our stories. And if it wasn't for you guys, man, we couldn't do what we love, which is covering pro football and telling great stories. So I'll be back in the studio soon. Don't know what the subject would be yet, but we'll have something. Maybe I'll have an A-teamer with me. Maybe I won't. But whatever it is, it'll be something pure and interesting, I hope. And I hope you guys check it out. So for the rest of the A-team, those guys are on assignment. This is Terez signing off. I'm out of here, man. Deuces.